Well, hello my friends. So, today I'm going to be making Lavender Lemonade cold process soap. It is part of my June collection soaps, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's super pretty and adorable. It's super summery, and I want to share with you guys a little bit about the inspiration. So it's very inspired by like rustic picnics, lavender tones, obviously lemon. It's very bright, happy, just also a very soft, lovely essential oil blend. So I'm going to start with the embeds. A day or two prior, I made the embeds. I have some little lemons. I have some bows. If you click up in the right hand corner, you'll see a link to how I make them. Some leaves. And I had also made these stems for lavender, but I didn't end up using them. So I'm going to start with my essential oil blend of lavender, lemon, ylang-ylang, and lemongrass. So I let this marinate a little bit. And what I mean by marinate is I took my kaolin clay to anchor these essential oil scents, and I let them sit there about half an hour before I started my soap. So this is a layered soap, and the best way to do that to get perfect even lines is to divide your batter in the amount of lines you're going to do. So I have my first layer here, and I'm going to color in a mix of micas that are going to be, my goal is to have is like a dark navy, almost black. So this is where I took my little art education and kind of started mixing. Nocturnal Mica from Nurture Soap is my favorite black. And I added some cashmere, which is a beautiful rich blue. And then this biodegradable glitter called Imperial Purple, which turned out to be a sample I got from them, and I absolutely loved it. I immediately put in an order because I wanted some little sparkles to kind of show through. You're going to see that. So I'm just mixing the micas in my oils just to make sure that everything is properly dispersed. I am working still with my olive oil pumice rice bran mix, so it does trace up a little bit faster. So this is why I like to mix up my micas first, just so I make sure that when I'm mixing in my lye with the oils, I can keep it at a thin trace and don't have a mess later mixing in colors. So I'm just adding my lye here. I like to strain it. I get questions about this. I use a water discount, so I always like to strain my water because sometimes I get lilant. But now I'm just going to give it a quick blitz. Again, I don't want this to be a thicker trace. I want it to be as thin as possible. So now I'm going to add the corresponding amount of the essential oil and kaolin clay blend marinade I was talking to you guys about, and this is my fragrance, so it's naturally fragranced, and I'm just gonna mix that in, and it actually thins down my trace a little bit, which is fantastic because I want this to be as smooth as possible when I pour it into the mold. And the color is just absolutely stunning. I don't even think I'm gonna have to put this in the oven and gel it because the color is just stunning. It's so beautiful. It's so deep and blue and royal, and it's just exactly what I was going for. So I'm just going to pour this, and I'm going to wait until this hardens a little bit up top before I pour it. I start mixing my next layer. That is a secret to straight lines. You have to wait until this layer hardens just a little bit. Don't wait too long. Just a little bit until it's solid enough for you to pour the next layer without disrupting this first one. Make sure that all the sides are nice and clean too. So now I'm going to pour the next layer, which is white. So I am just adding some premixed titanium dioxide to my oils and my lye, which I have already put into this mix. And I'm just going to stick blend this again until it's at emulsion or extremely thin trace. So now I'm just going to tear my scale and add the corresponding amount of essential oil and kaolin clay mix. And I'm just going to mix that in, and as I mentioned, this kind of thins down my trace, so it's wonderful. And try not to make a mess. This is why you need to wear your safety gear because accidents like this happen. Well, you know. Soap making is you have to be very careful and wear your gear. So goggles, gloves, the whole thing. I should be wearing long sleeves, but I'm not good like that. So now I'm just going to pour this into the mold. You're going to see the previous layer I mixed is already solid enough that when I pour this one, it's not going to disrupt. So before I pour, I'm going to spritz a little bit of rubbing alcohol, 91%, just to make sure that they kind of stick really nicely together. And I'm still going to use my spatula just to be extra cautious, but it pours perfectly. Like, it doesn't disrupt the next layer. there you go. That's the secret to perfect straight lines. Very easy. Just requires a little bit more math. But if you plan your soap, your process properly, you will use less dishes. I just use the same mixing bowl for all 3 layers. I just wipe in between and just, you know, it's easy. Just do a little bit of math and make sure you pour the right amount. Also just spritzing again with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So I'm gonna pour the last layer, which is the same color as the first layer. I'm gonna do a stripe, so it's gonna be 3 stripes. Initially I wanted to do like 4 or 5, but I was like, nah, let's just do 3. So I'm using the same ratios I used for the first layer, which is the Nocturnal Black, the Cashmere, and the Imperial Purple. It's just stunning. I love this mixture, this color, and you can actually see the little speckles of the biodegradable glitter. So it just looks so pretty. Yeah, so here I'm going to pour my lye, the same process, you guys have seen it. And then after this, I'm just going to pour my fragrance, which is my essential oil blend, with the ylang ylang, the lemon, the lavender, and the tiny bit of lemongrass to kind of anchor that down. It's very lovely. It's so fresh and it's a little bit floral, and it's not strong at all. It's just a beautiful, relaxing scent. The lavender really rounds that out. So and this is where my camera decides it's dead. I live on the edge, guys. I film these without no battery on my camera, but you know. Anyways, you've seen this part. You've seen the pouring, so yeah. So now I'm going to be putting on my little embeds. So every soap gets a little bit of a bow, a ribbon, a leaf, and a little lemon. It helps that I have marked out my molds every inch, so I know where to place my embeds exactly. So when I cut the soap, I don't cut into anything. So that's the tricky part. I have to make sure that everything is within that little inch. So yeah, this is the fun part. My favorite part. I get to decorate and just see how the soap turns out. I ended up not using the little stems. What I was gonna do is I was gonna put the little stems coming out of the little lemon bow thing, and I was gonna pipe some lavender buds on it, but I thought it just looked really pretty. Like the purple bow kind of represents that lavender aspect. So sometimes you need to kind of step back and evaluate and edit. It's very important that you edit when it comes to design. You don't want to throw in everything and the kitchen sink when you're designing. I mean, if you do, that's you do you. You know, personally, I like to make sure that things are nicely balanced, that there's a clear story. So sometimes removing some elements and making sure that they don't overpower other ones is very important to me, and a step that I take very seriously when I design. So also these little bow embeds, they're little nice curly cute things. I make sure that they're laying as flat as possible on the soap. Reason being is that they're very fragile. I don't want them to break during shipping or anything, so I make sure that everything is nice and flat. And then I can always go back, and if I see any little bows that need a little ribbon here or there, that's what I do now. I have little extra ribbons that I just kind of place in those that need a little length or a little, you know, little tails, and I think it looks really cute. I think it's super adorable. Bring on the summer, you know? Yes. And there you have it, guys. That is my Lavender Lemonade soap. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really think it kind of evokes like that pretty summer vibe, you know, having a little picnic, lots of really yummy treats, and a little bit of lavender lemonade on a hot sunny day. How awesome. I wish that were the case right now. It's cold in New York. So like, comment, and subscribe. Here are the links, my webpage, Instagram, Facebook. This soap will be available June 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at LegalSuds.com. See you then!